Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next The Reckoning of Roku chapter analysis video. This one's going to be for chapter 37, which is called Favored by the Spirits. Once again, YouTube channel membership is enabled if you would like to help support the channel. Just click the join button anywhere on the channel, and subscribing also helps. So another short-ish chapter, but this one actually has some interesting information in it. So it's Ulo leading Roku into the cave. We end the chapter, you know, we're in the center of the sacred cave, waiting for the equinox to happen. So we get right up to that point. But the big thing in this chapter is Ulo revealing the truth, or at least some of the truth, to Roku. But we will get to it. So yes, we just get a quick kind of cut through the morning of like the idea of Ulo ends up interacting with nearly every villager, you know, there, and he notes that he is this impressive leader in some ways, so he's not sure he necessarily agrees with what Malaya thinks, that the people would actually just be okay if he ended up having to like kill Ulo in all of this. Would they just move on to a different leader, because they overall do seem to like him? And he notes that, yeah, like people might be willing to trade a pile of bodies for their own safety. And Roku is beginning to think about things in this way. Like he says, as a fire national, he believes that it was the right of a people to defend themselves with force when necessary. But in the case of the island, he feels it is unnecessary. The idea of trespassing, but the mere idea of you arrive on the island and they become aware that you're here, you have signed your death warrant, he can't agree with that. And that obviously comes from the top, and that is a major problem. He also points out that Ulo has told him that more and more people have begun to find the island in recent years, meaning more and more victims overall. So he has to do something about this, because them just trying to be secretive is not just going to work anymore. You know, this information is noted a lot more regularly in kind of modern times than in the past. Sooner or later, someone's going to notice people are missing and come looking for their dead, and more people will arrive. And that could signal the tragic end to this clan if they don't make a course correction away from the violence, as being the answer here, of course. So, Roku also thinks to himself that, oh yeah, I promised Gyatso I wouldn't kill Ulo, but there might not be any other way. But if I do end up killing him, the Lombok clan might further dislike outsiders, because it would be the Avatar killing their leader. How would they view that, given the stories he's told about the Avatar? To them, it's a complicated situation, because he doesn't know otherwise how to resolve this situation. He thinks that maybe if I actually do get to talk to the spirit and it's actually reasonable, I might be able to tell the spirit I'm the Avatar and make something different happen here overall. But he's very unclear about what the full situation actually is. So at this point, they arrive at the end of the tunnel. They walk into the sacred cave, so their bending gets enhanced here, of course, going in here. And the idea is, are you ready? Yes. But Ulo says, before we proceed, there's something I must confess. And so what is this? The clan believes I meet with young Gib each equinox, that I make the necessary offerings and sacrifices, pass on their prayer requests, and consult with the cave spirit on matters concerning the island. But that is not what happens. It is true that the spirit comes to the cave. Its undeniable presence fills the entire space. Yet nobody knows why it comes. As far as any of our clan's chiefs have ever known, it is not possible to speak with young Gib, no matter what offerings and sacrifices we make. Since they are meaningless, we stopped doing them long ago. So there's one thing. The sacrifices of, I think it's animals prior to this, of course, are not necessary. They don't do anything in all of this. No clan chief has ever spoken to the spirit young Gib, so it seems to be somewhat automatic overall. Ulo explains that I tell the clan otherwise because it reassures them. People long to know that they are special, that they are favored by the spirits. When they feel such comfort, they are far less likely to question their leaders, and we are free to do what must be done. And Roku says, to control them. Ulo argues it's to keep them safe, and I trust you will keep this between you and me so that I may continue to do so. So Roku then asks the very obvious and clever question. If you can't speak with young Gib and believe your offerings are meaningless, then why do you need to come here at all? Couldn't you just walk out of the village after the festivities and then relax in the hot springs for a few hours? And Ulo's answer here is, it's interesting, but I'm also like very unclear. Is he telling the absolute truth here? Because I feel like I lose my understanding of what the ritual actually is when they talk about stuff like this, because again, they've stopped doing sacrifices long ago. So what does he actually do is my question. Though we don't understand why the spirit arrives each equinox, the ritual is necessary for siphoning the spiritual energy to fill the sacred cave before young Gib's departure. And I have a theory that we might be able to transfer that energy into you. As the Avatar, you might be the only person alive strong enough to carry it after you step out of this cavern. Meaning, imagine permanently being in the Avatar state. Why would you want to give me that sort of power? All I'd ask is that you agree to keep our island safe for as long as you are alive. You know as well as I do, it cannot fall into the wrong hands. And he thinks to himself of like, no, this is not a power that I want. You know, it sounds terrifying what it's like to be in the Avatar state. He knows already what it's like to just be in this cave and not have full control over your bending necessarily. So having that level of power at all times seems crazy. Not to mention his assumption is that the way Ulo plans to do the ritual, he's absolutely convinced Ulo plans to, you know, give himself the energy if that is what's actually happening here. But again, I go back to the explanation. Apparently Ulo says here, the ritual is necessary, but I don't know what the ritual is. What it does is it apparently siphons the spiritual energy into the sacred cave. So the potential is there, but Ulo and previous chiefs have had to do something to make that energy stick. That's what I don't really get here in all of this, because I don't think we're talking about some sort of an energy bending type thing. And then the only thing Ulo has really explained is that apparently they like meditate, but because he's never spoken to young Gib, and he obviously I don't think knows the truth, which we get later on in the book, I don't understand what this is. So is this just a lie? And Ulo really has no clue about what's happening here. So is it purely automatic that just the energy fills the cave just by it being there and the equinox being what it is? Because I don't remember them saying what he does that actually makes this happen. Because again, they said they stopped doing sacrifices long ago. So I don't really know what the situation is here. Do you have to use your bending while this is happening to kind of draw it in or something like that? But I'm not really sure what to make of it. So, from there, yeah, we just get into the idea of that. He really feels that, yeah, it is not the right idea to kind of, in his mind, take this shortcut to becoming a fully realized Avatar and having access to this power at all times. And yeah, Ulo probably is the one who wants to do this himself. Roku has to be on guard as they get ready for this. So as the light begins to get to the center of the sacred cave, when the equinox will actually hit, they take their positions, they kind of kneel down, kind of, you know, get into the lotus position, close their eyes, of course. Remember, no bending, you have to keep yourself still. Once the cave spirit is with us, it will be like standing at the edge of a waterfall. I wouldn't want you to tumble over. So, yeah, the lights go out at this point, and Roku's heart is hammering here as this tense situation is about to go down, where he suspects Ulo is going to try to kill him, and then he has no clue what's actually going to happen on the spiritual side of things, of course. Because it's just going to be his first time dealing with a spirit, and what's going to actually happen here. So with this one, I think in the comments, what I really want you guys to discuss, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on, is what do you make of the whole, like how much of what Ulo says here is a lie or a truth on top of a lie? Because this is what I'm super interested to go through the rest of the chapters to just figure out what further details they present about this. Because off the top of my head, I'm kind of like, what is it that Ulo does to siphon the energy? Because the only thing I can think of is that, like, is there some sort of energy bending thing going on here, which I don't think is the case. And then we get into, is this about the whole idea that he can see auras and so on? I'm not really sure. It's a tricky situation, and I don't really know what to make of it. But definitely let me know what you think is the actual truth of the ritual as it happens. Of course, we're going to get some reveals as the chapters go on. I remember, that much at least, what the big reveal is. But the details, it does feel a little bit like I said in my spoiler review for the book, like some of the details fall to the wayside here. It gets a little hand wavy about like what actually is going on here, and we don't get as much detail as I probably would like to. Same way as like they didn't quite explain the whole aura sensing thing, and they'll reference it a few more times. It's another kind of situation like that kind of here overall. But otherwise, let me know what your thoughts are below. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.